Hello JBS viewers, I'm David Harris, and this is Defending Israel. It's now been 7 months since the genocidal invasion by Hamas against Israel, October 7th, 2023. And it's important for us not just to remember the date, but also to meet the people on the ground in Israel who've been involved in grappling with this immense threat and the Israeli response. And so I feel very privileged to have with me in the studio today Moran Agamy, one of those Israelis who's been on the ground. Moran, welcome to Defending Israel.
Thank you, David. Thank you all for watching us.
So you're new to our audience. So can you say a word about yourself? Who are you?
Okay, so as David said, my name is Moran Agamy. I used to be an ordinary Israeli citizen who has a 6.5-year-old son who has a day job. I have my own business. I advise and represent people and organizations in Israel and abroad. But then October 7th, as a reserve soldier, as I'm also a reserve soldier, I was called up about 8 a.m. I was already at the base, 8 a.m.
On
Israel
October
time.
7th?
On October 7th, yeah. There was the first siren. I didn't know exactly what was going on. The neighbors asked me, why am I wearing pajamas and not my IDF uniform? And I was like, I don't know what is going on. Second siren, and then like after a few minutes, my commander called me. I went, put on my uniform, and was already at the base, 8:30 max.
And for the next several months, at least 4 months with only a brief interruption, and again now, you have been serving back in the IDF.
Yes. As a reserve soldier, at the beginning, the first few days I was located in the center, then I went down south. So I got a chance to get it all together, also the north border, which we're going to talk about in the end if you have time.
Absolutely.
So I guess, David, for me, I had this, I can't say I got lucky, but I'm sitting here as a witness because I saw everything. Each title you talk about, you say beheading, you say rape, you say this, like this, I saw it. So I guess I'm coming here as a witness more than an IDF reserve soldier.
And that's why it's so important to have you here. And I have to say, Moran, that after 7 months, some people are beginning to forget here in the United States and perhaps elsewhere in the world, beginning to pretend October 7th never even happened, or rape. Who says there was rape or beheadings? Israeli propaganda. That's why after 7 months, I think it's so important you're here. I know it's tough for you. I know it's emotional. I know you have photographs staring at you from your phone. But share with our viewers some of the things you've seen with your own eyes, that need to be remembered today.
Okay, so I just tell you how the first day went, and so you can realize how and why did I saw what I saw. So first up, I'm coming to the base. We were there, and no orders came. It was total chaos, complete chaos. Like I ate only olives for 2 days, morning, lunch, and dinner. So imagine that. That's how big the chaos was. So no orders, no one seemed to know what to do, what is going on. So we decided to act along. We split up, and I tried to have a sense of what is going on, because without knowledge, how can I do something? So I tried to reach up the border field observers. There are young women soldiers who serve in the front line and are the first to meet a terrorist. I got no answer. I looked at the map, and there's Urim base, which is a base located in the south. I tried to reach someone from the Urim base. No answer either. I said, what was going on? What's happening here? And then I heard one of the commanders says that there are 30 people dead in a party in the south. So I got scared because I have this great friend from childhood. His name is Yon, and he's like this kind of parties. I went out because we were not allowed to enter cell phones. I went out to call him, and he answered to me and started to scream. David, he was screaming, Moran, why aren't you coming? We are calling you, you are not coming, please help us.
You, the IDF?
Yeah, he treated me as an IDF because everyone knows.
Right.
I'm known as the IDF is my favorite, like I call him my favorite client. Reserve duty was the best time for me ever. All the time that I called to reserve, now not anymore, but then. So I told him, Yoni, relax, please tell me what you see. And he says, Moran, I'm not there, so I breathed, right, as a sigh of relief. But then he added, there are 1,000 dead people. They're shooting them into holes, like the Holocaust. I said, okay, Yoni, listen, tell your friends to hide under dead bodies and pray. And in the meantime, I'll try to do my best. Okay, I hung up the phone. And the gap that formed between these 30 and 1,000 sounded strange to me. I thought to myself, there must be like 200, 300 dead maximum. So I figured the Israeli side probably doesn't know what was going on, right? I'm Israeli side as well. And I thought to myself, I should get my information from the other side. Then I met another soldier friend, his name is Aaron, and we served as comrades after that. Aaron knows all the Hamas Telegram channels by heart. When you go to sleep, viewers, you must be watching, I don't know, Netflix, or you watch David. Aaron just rolled and scrolled the Hamas Telegram channels. That's his favorite hobby. So I told Aaron, let's look something about Urim, or keywords that we are looking for.
The base.
Yeah, the base. So we looked for Urim, nothing came up. And then I saw, let's think about the neighborhood, the Gaza neighborhood, like the most closest Gaza neighborhood. We looked these kind of words, and then we accidentally got connected to these live feed channels that Hamas terrorists, they were so proud of what they did that they hooked up these cameras into their helmets and aired this live. So this is how I found out that my brothers at the Urim base did not answer because they were slaughtered at the exact same time. This is how I found out that these brave women soldier observers did not reply because they were burned alive at the exact same time or kidnapped into Gaza and still there. This is how I found out headless soldiers. I saw beheading of migrant workers. I saw this terrible sexual assault on I saw dead bodies that were sexually assaulted. Okay, I saw broken pelvises. I saw burned babies. You know what? I saw a pile of ashes that turns up after a CT scan. It was two brothers hugging one another that instead of dancing with the Torah cycles that evening, were burned alive in Hamas's fire. All these things I bear witness on October 7, and I could never forget. And when you tell me now that people forget or say, it didn't happen, so look at me. I'm a normal Israeli woman, have an ordinary life, and you cannot forget. You cannot forget for me, you cannot forget for my son Shachar, and you cannot forget for all these survivors, all the people that are not with us anymore. You can never forget.
But again, I want to be sure our viewers understand, your first images that you saw were actually from Hamas, which were filming and recording, and you're saying celebrating this barbarism.
Yeah, let me tell you two
of
stories.
young Israelis, civilians, soldiers, older Israelis, music festival goers. You saw it through the Hamas camera.
Yes, so let me tell you three examples, all right? First example is this Hamas terrorist who done a selfie picture with dead bodies. Selfie picture with dead bodies. One of them was a child, a great girl with great hair. She had curly hair. I don't know the color because it was black and white. I guess it was red hair. I don't know why. That's my imagination. He did a selfie with her. Second story, maybe you heard it before about this Hamas terrorist that was calling his mother. She was in Gaza, he was in the kibbutz. He called her from a phone of these Israeli people he just murdered on the kibbutz, this couple. He called her enthusiastically, said, Mom, I already killed a Jew. Mom, I killed a Jew. Please tell Dad. Okay, I don't know what she said to him on the other line, because I think, because if you heard the full recording. So this is the second story. And the third story was a Hamas terrorist that we've caught. And we showed them his knife with lots of blood, and we asked him, what is it? We asked him, what is this blood? You want to know because you want to know where to look for other stuff. And he was so proud. He said, this knife is saying, I killed 30 Jews with it.
30?
30 Jews with this knife. He was so proud. So, so proud. And they aired their atrocities on these live feeds. They are proud of what they did.
Even the Nazis did not air those visuals of themselves.
And they say, we're going to do it again. One Hamas terrorist we caught, you know what was tattooed on his arm? A swastika. A swastika engraved on a Muslim terrorist body.
And you have a picture of that.
Yes. We cannot show it.
We can't show it here, but you have a picture of that as well. You saw that with your own eyes.
Yes. Engraved on a Muslim terrorist body, a swastika.
A swastika.
And it's not a coincidence, because Amin al-Husseini is the architect of and commander of the Farhud riots, right? Was part of the Holocaust that took place. He did it in Iraq.
The Farhud riots were in Iraq during the Second World War.
Yeah, so it was 2 days, 1,200 Jews were brutally murdered. Same numbers. 50,000 Jews testified that all their property has been looted. This Amin al-Husseini was responsible for the SS Muslims volunteer units.
Right.
And he was responsible for the Nazi propaganda. We have photos of him and Hitler.
Right. Those pictures are famous.
Other thing that Amin al-Husseini did, he is the founding father of the Palestinian people. So the founding father of the Palestinian people was a Nazi, and this is how you get a Hamas terrorist with swastika on his hand. So it's not a coincidence. We just ignore it. We prefer to ignore it, like some of the Jews in America now prefer to ignore other stuff. Let me tell you that. In Gaza, you know how many posters of specific 2 people we saw? It was Bin Laden, which you all know, but Abdul Azam, I guess part of you doesn't know who is Abdul Azam. Abdul Azam is the founding father of Al-Qaeda, and he's the spiritual father of Bin Laden. He's Palestinians. So after May 2nd, which President Obama announced that you have killed Bin Laden, in Gaza they declare a day of mourning, and they hang this huge sign, which I can show you later, of Bin Laden and the founding father of Hamas together, which we killed, okay, Ahmed Yassin, Sheikh Ahmed Yassin.
Right.
So they hang this huge sign and they declare a day of mourning while you are celebrating here in New York the death of this brutal terrorist. They were mourning.
Moran, I mean, you've seen this with your own eyes over weeks and months. These are all people that you've either known or others know them, and yet you see a world which largely ignored the rape, women's movements that were largely silent about rape, children's organizations around the world that were largely silent about the barbarism against children, and now flipping it, even worse, now accusing Israel of genocide against the Palestinian people and Gaza. How do you, as an Israeli who has experienced all this, who's obviously still very emotional, rightly so, how do you react to all of this? How do you deal with it?
So I tell you what, it's me. You don't have to be like me. Better that you won't be. I prefer ignore them, because if not, then I feel unsafe as a woman. I feel that this woman organization, they don't represent me. They prefer a Hamas terrorist over me. I'm a woman. I'll do anything for my sister woman, no matter if she has a burqa on her head or whatever. But these women, they abandoned me, and they prefer these Hamas terrorists. So I prefer ignore them, and I prefer, and maybe you should do it as well, just collaborate with the people who going to be with us or can be with us, because this is a war that we have to win. We fell asleep. David, we fell asleep in the United States, we fell asleep in Israel for 20 years. Look at your colleges, at the universities, what they do. Doesn't make sense that, and for me, what can I do? I can march into this Palestinian rally and say what? What use is that I will go to, I don't know, this gay protester who say we're Israel doing genocide, and tell him that I saw Hamas like 2 years ago, like push someone from the roof because he's gay. What? He can't listen. His ears are locked. So what we do, and this is part of the reason that I'm here in the States now and not with my soldiers that are now in Rafah. And this reason is that I got connected to this organization, Moral Hearts Alliance, that what they did, they are starting to get it together with people that can support or can support Israel, and they do it now with Christians, actually with evangelicals. We had this beautiful church gathering with Eagle Wings. I personally was with Bishop Robert Stern, he's the head of Eagle Wings. He sent to Israel every year something like 450 pastors, and they return as the best PR guys of Israel. They love Israel. I was talking for half an hour. They were shaking and hugging me. Little girls came to me and say, I want to be like you when I grow up. These few people asked me how can they join the IDF, and they were raising Israel flags on the air. So I guess instead of fighting the wrong battles, I fight with someone that I can win with.
You're looking for friends.
I'm looking for friends and also looking for pressure, because you, as the Jews in the States, you can pressure, you can call your, congressmen, you can do lots of things because you have power. But I want to add more power to you. This is why Moral Hearts Alliance are joining with the Christians now. And I think that's a smart thing to do, to just speak up, raise your voice, and increase your power. But before increasing it, all the Jews in the States must know that this is the time. You say in Hebrew, you say in Purim, okay? Mordechai tell Esther, this is the time you reach the kingdom. מי יודע אם בעת הזו הגעת למלכות. So this is your time. This is your time to speak up against evil, to stand up with Israel, to call your congressman, to take action, to speak up my story, even if you want that. You know, I lost my sense of smell for 2.5 months. I had these few hours off, so I can be with my son, because he was raising fever. His fever didn't, no matter what we did, his fever didn't come down. So I went home. So I had 2 hours of grace to hold him and breathe his sense. But actually, I just cuddled him because I lost my sense of smell after smelling all these smells of death in those first days of the war. And it took me 2.5 months to get my sense of smell back. And I feel guilty ever since, because it's a small thing to lose compared to mom who lost her child and cannot hug him anymore. So you must stand up, if not for me, if not for my son, if not for the people of Israel, then for you.
Since you mentioned your son in this very emotional language, of course, how does a 6-year-old, he's an only child, and if I understand correctly, you're raising him alone?
No, I'm divorced mom. He also has a father.
Okay, but his mother puts on a uniform. She has to leave. She's away for periods of time, especially since October. How do you deal with it on a human level with a 6-year-old child?
So, first what I did, I was so focused on the mission that I couldn't see him. He cried once that he got the wrong olives on his pizza, and my parents called me. And I was like, oh, I don't care. Why he cries from these things? It's me. Anyone who knows me in Israel knows if my son say, Mom, I got a scratch, and start to cry. Okay, this is my son and I were inseparable since he was born. Since the minute he was born, we've been inseparable. But because of the proportion that I got, I couldn't talk with him. And then I was with him for a couple hours. And he wanted to play with me. He wanted me to, untie something. And my hands failed. I couldn't untie it. And I was like so stressed. I just went back to the army. And I was like, I cannot play with my 6-year-old. What's up? What is happening with me? And then one of my army friends said, this untying, it's like the terrorists that their hands were tied. So then I realized I got to take care of myself. But first I need to take care of him, because as I said, he ran a fever that refuses to disappear. So I changed the story, I framed it differently. So your mom, I told him Shachar is his name, is Dawn in Hebrew, for anyone who doesn't know Hebrew.
Dawn, yeah.
So I told him, Shachar, mom now needs to help Israel. And now she's a hero. She fights the terrorists. And we talked about it. And I told him some secrets. And I told him what I do. Mostly, like, censorize it, but of course. And then he used to walk around and say, my mom is a hero, my mom is a hero, and all the story was reframed as like, you know, this is my day job. So I reframed the whole story, and then we started to heal together. So this is how.
And in a way, as I understand, Moran, you are a hero. With or without the reframing for Shachar, your 6-year-old son, and much of what you've seen and done are things that still cannot be discussed. So I respect that, and I don't want to go there. But where I do want to go is, from the outside, while Israel was, as you said, asleep on October the 7th, by October the 8th, the impression was this extraordinary story of Akut, of unity, of soldiers from the reserves traveling back as fast as they can from Latin America, from Asia, from wherever, knowing that they're going to risk their lives. And yet, on October the 6th, Israel was as divided as could be over domestic issues, judicial reform. Is that story of Akut, of unity, really the story? And can it last?
Okay, so the first few weeks of the war were amazing, because anywhere you go, people hugged you, people prepare food for you. They gave you
because you were
presents.
wearing a uniform.
Yeah. So one time we didn't have food for like, we had this awful food. There was one day it was a pile of eggs with flies all around it.
Oof.
But then in the second day, I got used to not eating, and it
And
was
the
great
wrong
for-
olive sometimes.
Yeah, no, the olives were great. But anyway, I got like used to not eating, and I said to myself, "Good, I will be thin after this whole nightmare. Maybe I can find a husband." But anyway, then what
the
was
wrong way
happening?
to diet.
But anyway, you have to reframe everything, right? You're in the battlefield. So then I saw lots of soldiers enthusiastically. They went to this place, and I was, "What are they doing?" And I went after them, and I got these big trays of amazing food, and I saw this signature which says Panchina. Panchina is the best Italian restaurant in Israel, right? Mm-hmm. So these guys, they are chefs. They had a restaurant in Dizengoff Street. It's like having a restaurant in Times Square. They closed it for 2 months, preparing food for the soldiers. So imagine that. In 1 second, I turned from being this person who's looking for revenge, who is angry, and all I saw was like how I get revenge. I became to this person who felt again as a human being. As a person, I remember that I used to have business meetings with politicians in these restaurants, and I got it that I'm not looking for revenge anymore. I'm looking to keep these amazing, beautiful Israeli people safe. That's what I was looking for, and now all the IDF soldiers are like that. Now they're bravest soldiers in Rafah. This is why when you call me brave, I laugh, because now there are soldiers in Rafah, and I'm in Times Square, so they are brave, and we should all pray for these soldiers. Right. After that,
and by the way, those soldiers are also Christian and Muslim, and women and men, and some are Datis, some are Haredi even. Yeah,
so that fun story that we are in this. Okay, the Druze soldiers are the best ever.
The Druze.
The Druze are the best soldiers. So
again, I want JBS viewers to understand that the Israeli army is a very pluralistic army. Correct?
Yeah. So I guess most of your viewers are Jews, right? So they probably know. They probably know Shlomo Artzi, right? You know Shlomo Artzi is a famous singer from Israel.
Yes.
So the funny thing is, someone who is like my commander, he's Druze, his name is Wasim. And he was hearing Shlomo Artzi while I was hearing Sharif. Sharif is a Druze singer. This is how pluralized we are. We have this photo that describes it the best. This is what we do. In the army, we're together. There is no difference between us. You can be whatever you want. You want to be liberal, Republican, whatever. We are all together because Israel is bigger than politics.
And again, that's a story that so many people outside Israel today do not know or understand. Israelis have come together. Can this unity last?
So actually our enemies are trying to separate us all the time. We've seen it, we saw the campaigns and everything. They do it, Iran do it, in Gaza it's been done. So, and also who does it is, I guess most of Israeli politicians who will now try to divide us, okay, between left and right. So anyone who does it now, anyone who refer to who is my prime minister, who is the head of the opposition, I don't care. Now it's Israel. The day after, let's deal with that. Don't join the enemy. Don't divide us. Don't treat me, don't define me by my prime minister or by the head of the Israeli opposition. It's not me. Okay? I'm an Israeli citizen, besides being a reserve soldier. And the day after, let's talk about politics. Invite me again, because this is my other hat, right? And let's talk politics. I'll talk about everything. But now the most important thing is this war, and we have to win it.
And how would you define winning it? And we just have a couple of moments left more.
How I define winning?
Yeah. What does winning mean?
Okay,
can you destroy an ideology? You can destroy an army, but can you destroy an ideology?
You're absolutely right. The winning for me is that all the people around the world will understand that we have a war, West against East. They say it all the time. Iran, Russia, whoever, China, they say it all the time. If people will understand and join forces together, for me that's a win. If the Saudi will be responsible in Gaza, that's a way people can go back live in the South. It's my opinion, obviously, but you are absolutely right. Even if we now in Rafah, in 2 minutes we'll just see a picture in my phone that God, Bezrat Hashem, that Sinwar, some soldiers took Sinwar captivity. Still, you can't destroy idea. Hamas is idea, Hamas is an ideology. Like the Nazis, this is an idea. So you can't destroy it. The only thing you can do is join forces together and understand and scream all over the world. Doesn't matter, you liberal, you Democrat, you Republican, whatever you are. This is East against West, and if you want to live,
so this is civilizational. This is not just about Israel. This is not just about Jews.
Absolutely not.
That's what
about
you're saying.
Israel. Yeah, but it's not what I say. It's what Iran's supreme leader says. Everyone say it. You know, they scream in the rallies in Iran, "Mark Bar America." I hope I said it right. It means in Persian, "Dead to America." They do it like every week. Why aren't you listening?
Right. So Israel's only the beginning of the story, not the end of the story.
Israel is just the means.
So Moran, we're wrapping up now, but I want you to return to and repeat, if necessary, to the hundreds of thousands of viewers around the country and around the world on social media as well. What do you as an Israeli want from those of us in the diaspora who believe in Israel? What can we do to help you?
Okay, I want you to please stand up for us, raise your voice, do whatever you can. If you can write a letter to your congressman, write a letter to your congressman. If you can raise money, raise money. If you can raise allies, raise allies. If you can donate for us in the IDF to have better equipment, donate. Do whatever you can. Repeat my story, repeat whatever, reach out with me, I give you photos, I give you whatever you need. Just stand up with Israel against evil.
And that's the note on which I want to thank you, Moran, and not just thank you for being here in the studio, but thank you for, as your son would say, for your heroism and for the heroism of so many Israelis.
Yes.
Who make us extraordinarily proud. JBS viewers, ladies and gentlemen, you've just met one of those Israelis who, unsung, returned to her closet, put her uniform back on, and has quietly fought for her country in every way she can. And even as she does, think about how she named her 6-year-old child, Shachar, Dawn. If that's not hope and optimism, if that's not life-affirming, I don't know what is. Am Yisrael Chai. This is David Harris defending Israel. Thank you, Moran.
Thank you, David.